I'm so fucking pissed off at you and your parents. My parents have nothing to do with this. Shut up! If you're going to complain to me, I'm not going to have anything to do with your parents anymore. I don't want your parents at any of my weddings or funerals. If you don't like it, get out. I don't care. Are you gonna be okay? What? I'm glad you're leaving. Don't ever call me again. When she said that to me, I put a piece of paper in front of her. She was surprised when she saw the paper. Divorce papers. She got up from the sofa with a start. What do you mean, you're divorcing me out of the blue? My name is Takuya Nakagawa. I'm 28 years old and an office worker. I live with my wife, Mayumi, and my 3-year-old son, Ray. I've been working for my father's company since I graduated from university, but the trouble is that my wife is against it. She works for a well-known small company, so she is embarrassed that I work in a small parts factory. It was strange. Why would she say that? My wife was happy that I was the boss's son when we first got married, but lately she very much hates my parents. And why does she hate the company my father runs so much? You'll never understand, my dear. Get the hell out of that kind of company. My wife insults me by saying such things. She also tells me to quit my job. My father has always had a strong work ethic. He's always up for a challenge, and he's always pushing himself forward. I think that's cool. He also cares about his employees. That's why I respect him so much, so I have no intention of quitting his company. By the way, my wife doesn't like that I respect him either. I can't help but think what a small-minded woman she is, but why did she suddenly start talking like this? I really wondered. When I was having breakfast with my wife and son, my wife said to my son, as if she remembered something like this, Reto, okay? When you grow up, you're going to go to a good university, and you're going to work for a big company. Don't get a job at a small factory making parts. I couldn't believe my ears. Hey, don't talk to the kid like that, I say angrily, and she says, Well, it's not that weird, she said. I'm just teaching him what's normal in the world. And it's not just my father and I who are offended by that statement. It's an insult to the employees of my father's company. I wonder why she doesn't see it. I'd rather teach my son not to be such an inconsiderate adult. I have to teach him not to be such an inconsiderate adult. No matter how much I tried to warn her, she kept repeating these remarks. It seems she really wants me to quit my job. And she continues to say and do things that hurt me. She told me to quit my job like she told me to quit before. I'm wondering why my wife has become such a cold and horrible person and wishes she would at least go back to her old ways, but I don't see any sign of it, so I've given up on her. I'm not even considering divorce. My in-laws are very nice people and my parents are very close. I don't want to make them unhappy by divorcing us. That's why I'm so hesitant. My father and my father-in-law are really good friends and go fishing a lot. My mother-in-law and my mother, like the same artists, we go to live shows together. My in-laws and my parents love my son very much. My son grew up with a lot of love and affection, and he's very happy. I don't think I should lose that kind of environment. That's why I couldn't go through with the divorce. But my life for my wife was drying up. I gradually began to hate sleeping with her. I sleep with my son in the nursery. My wife didn't even like it and tried to force me to sleep with her in the kids' room. My son tried to come to bed, but he reacted to my wife's frustration. He started to cry a lot. After that, my wife stopped coming into the nursery. After a while, we didn't talk much with my wife. We became a masked couple. She was still trying to get me to quit my job. She harassed me in a silly way to make me quit my job. She left the dishes on the table after eating. She comes home late and leaves her clothes all over the place. She did these things to add to my housework load. When I'm home for the vacations, she lounges on the couch, monopolizing the TV all the time. I've been harassed in such a low-key way. The day my wife and I took turns cooking dinner, she goes out drinking with her coworkers on purpose. She wastes my time and my energy, and when she sees me, she grins at me. She's really too much of a child, or too childish. It's appalling. After that, a little while later, my wife came home, looking very happy. I'm home. Welcome home. That's just a greeting for the time being. Well, she's in a good mood today, so I'll forgive her. Is something wrong? To be honest, it was a pain in the ass to ask, but the grin on her face didn't seem to go away until I asked. So I asked. I guess that's what I mean when I say her face is annoying. You want to know? I don't have a choice. I might be promoted to department head. Oh really? That's great. I thought that was simply amazing. I said congratulations, pure and simple, but my wife said something that made me feel bad. Now, you really don't have to do your job. I'm the head of the department, so why don't you just grow up and go home and be a full-time house husband? No matter what I said to her, she wanted to end the conversation with that. I was thoroughly disgusted. The next day, my son got a fever. I took him to the hospital and left him with my mother. When I came to work, everyone was kind of fidgety. Is something wrong? I asked the desk clerk. The boss is talking to one of our clients right now. I hear the boss is pretty upset. My father is angry. I was surprised. My father is very mild-mannered and has the ability to laugh off most things, so for my father to get angry with someone, it was a big deal. What on earth could have happened? I was curious, so I went to the president's office. Takuya, I see Ratio has a fever. Is he alright? He's fine now, fever gone, sleeping peacefully. What's more, what's wrong? The employees are worried that you were frustrated. I'm sorry, but I've heard something I can't allow. My father and I were having this conversation. Then a young man sitting across from my father stood up. He said, Long time no see, Mr. Takuya. Yabuki, it's been a long time. So it was Mr. Yabuki who told me that someone from our business partner was here. He's a young employee of a company my father's company does business with. He's a very good-natured kid. He's in charge of our company now, taking over from the previous manager. Every time he comes in, he gives us something to eat and talks to us. He's a very nice boy, which is rare these days. But I suddenly had a question. What is it about Mr. Yabuki that makes my father so angry? What in the world is wrong with you, Dad? He explained to me what he had heard from Mr. Yabuki. Mr. Yabuki works for an electrical machinery manufacturer. Just recently, he succeeded in acquiring a new business that led to a project with a major company. So he was working on a project with other employees. They were all checking out the site together. Considering quality and functionality, they decided that some of the parts should come from my father's company. So Mr. Yabuki came to my father's company. They had various meetings to discuss the project, and so the preparations proceeded steadily. But when the project was in sight, his boss took away the presentation materials he had prepared, and boss took the liberty of presenting it to the president and the board of directors. The boss took all the credit for the presentation. The boss was recognized for the content of the presentation. He said boss might be promoted to department head this time. My face was getting redder and redder, and I was getting angry and angrier. Furthermore, Mr. Yabuki told me that the boss was from the company that handled the parts. He told me that he would choose another company because he did not trust this company. The company he said was untrustworthy was our company. I was at the peak of my anger. I'm so sorry, Mr. Yabuki. My wife did something stupid. Mr. Yabuki looked at me strangely. That boss at the company you work for, isn't her name Mayumi Nakagawa? Yes, it is. Is it possible that the person called Mrs. Nakagawa? I nodded my head, and Yabuki-kun was very surprised. In other words, when she was happy that my wife might be promoted to the head of the department, I didn't even know that. I regretted saying congratulations to her without even knowing it. I think Mayumi-san would do such a thing. When my father said that, I felt awkward for a moment, and then my father saw my face. Why are you looking at me like that? I thought I couldn't hide it anymore, and I told my father for the first time what my wife had said and done to me. Why didn't you ever tell me you were going through something like that? So I told him that my parents were close to my in-laws, and my parents were close to me, and I felt bad about that, and couldn't tell them. Then he said, Don't worry about that. I'm not going to cut off my ties with their parents. Don't you think that's fine? My wife and I are already friends with their parents, so we will continue our personal relationship. I told him that he should just go along with her parents in regard to his son. When my father said that to me, I had an epiphany. He's right. It's easy enough to keep my wife out of it. Why didn't I realize that? I thought, and felt as if the fog had lifted. But first and foremost, our priority should be Yabuki and his team. What they had worked so hard to build as a team had been taken away from them. I'm sure there are many others who are in shock and depressed. Didn't you think of protesting together? When I asked him about it, he replied that he had a weak point. I further asked him what he meant. Apparently, my wife had filed a complaint with the General Affairs Department against him for violating the work hours, which is a violation of the work rules. As a result, Yabuki was dropped from the project. He said that this had become a threat to other employees, as if to make an example of him. My father and I were both appalled by this. I guess Mayumi-san needs to be sanctioned once, my father said quietly. I could sense that he had a lot of anger inside of him. After that, my father and I, Yabuki, and other employees at the same workplace, we had regular meetings. We would have such strategy meetings. They were all upset because of my unexpected behavior the other day. This time, they were united and eager to get back at me. and they all decided to look for evidence that they had created this project. I decided to look for it. I heard that the evidence was hard to come by. Yabuki was ashamed into starting the project with us, and he talked to the person in charge at the big company, and the person in charge was a very nice person. He came to Yabuki's company with his boss. He told the boss of directors and the president of the company. As a result, it turned out that my wife was not involved in the project at all. The bosses found out. The wife complained that then these people are violating their working hours. The rest of us are. Then, we're in violation and we're going to quit, they said. This made the executives very upset. It was obvious that the wife was at fault. The directors decided to take action against her. As a result, my wife did something that made the company lose confidence in her. Instead of being promoted to department manager, she was demoted from section manager to an ordinary employee. In addition, she was left to a department near the window. On the day I was punished, I was waiting for my wife at home. She came home, looking pissed off. "You're late. I need to talk to you." "I'm not in the mood to talk to you right now. Maybe some other time." And she's lying on the couch. "Hey, I said I want to talk to you." "Shut up, I'm tired." "How selfish can you be? I don't want you to talk to me." What are you going against me? I'm so mad at you. You and your parents really piss me off." "My parents have nothing to do with this. Besides, your parents and my parents are good friends. You know that, so why are you talking shit about my parents?" "Shut up, don't complain to me. I won't have anything to do with your parents anymore. Don't ever invite your parents to my weddings or funerals. If you don't like it, get out." My wife was very upset, and she was very angry with me, but it's a good thing she said that. "Okay, but are you okay?" "What? I'm glad you're out of here. Don't ever call me again." When she said that, I held out a piece of paper to her. The moment she saw the paper, she was surprised. Divorce papers. She woke up from the sofa with a start. "What do you mean? You're divorcing me out of the blue?" "You betrayed me, so we're getting a divorce, of course." "Wait a minute. Did you mean the betrayal you just said about my parents? Are you crazy enough to divorce me over something like that?" "I don't care about that. This is why I'm asking for a divorce." Saying this, I spread out on the table a document in an envelope. It was a photograph proving that my wife was having an affair with a man I didn't know. "Why are you doing this?" "You look like you're having a lot of fun." No, and this is just an accident." "I don't care if it's a passing fancy or if it's serious. The fact that you had an affair doesn't go away. Divorce is a given. Child support is a certainty. Pay alimony. No property division. Unless you admit this, you're going to hell. I checked with the credit bureau to see if you'd done anything shady, and they came up with everything. I have a son, and you're a bitch." "I'll give you everything you want in a divorce. Just don't tell the company." "I can't help it. I can't stand the thought of my son's mother having an affair. I feel sorry for him, too. I don't care if he's a business acquaintance. He's a married woman. Didn't you feel sorry for his wife and family?" And then, he said he didn't want his wife to find out about the affair from his lover, who works for a big company. I received $4 million in alimony. My wife paid $5 million in alimony and $10 million in child support. She paid them in one lump sum. It seems that all of his wife's savings are gone now. She was left penniless. On top of that, somehow word of the affair spread through the rumor mill in the wife's workplace. My wife is now looked at coldly by all the employees. But since she had no money at all, she couldn't quit her job. I filed for divorce and it was a clean slate. Of course, I took my son and my mother is taking care of him. My ex-wife has been under a lot of stress, and now she's getting very old. She looks like she's not even in her 30s anymore. I really feel bad for her. She got what she deserved. By the way, my ex-parents have been apologizing to me and my parents about this problem, but the only one to blame is my ex-wife. Don't apologize to me and my parents, and please continue to get along with each other. That's what I told them, and they calmed down. My ex-in-laws are angry at my ex-wife and disowned her. I have no intention of seeing my son with my ex-wife in the future. So now, my ex-wife is completely alone. By the way, Yabuki and his team worked on the project again with the same team, and it was a great success. My father and I are very happy to be able to help by providing parts. I have a son, and I am working very hard. My ex-parents-in-law are happy to see their grandchildren, and my parents, who are friends of theirs. I will continue to cherish this family connection, except for my ex-wife, and I'm going to enjoy my days with them. She takes credit for her subordinate's work and makes fun of her husband's family, and to top it all off, she had an affair. I can only say that she is an idiot wife. I'm glad that she was finally punished. I hope he will have a happy time with his son, parents, and ex-parents-in-law. Thank you for watching to the end. How did you like today's story? Please subscribe to our channel if you like. See you in the next episode.